story appears ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Beautiful evening here in Lagos. Thank you for joining us on CoreTV News this hour. I am Nifemi Okuntoye. Students of the Lagos State University LASU can now heave a sigh of relief as Governor Babatunde Fashola orders the management of the school to revert to the old school phase. The institution have in the last 9 months witnessed students and lecturers' protests over the increment in school fees and other sundry charges. This decision of the Lagos State government to run the university with the old school fee is coming on the heels of several reconciliatory committees and mediating bodies' report recommendations, which were in opposition to the new fees, described as taking higher education away from the rich of the poor. The All Progressives Congress has asked President Goodluck Jonathan to apologize to the people of Nasarawa State over the failed move to impeach the state governor, Tanko Amakura. The APC alleged that rather than call the Nasarawa lawmakers to order on the attempt to remove their governor, President Goodluck Jonathan decided to host them. A statement from the Rivers State chapter of the party also urged the people of Nasarawa to recall the lawmakers from the People's Democratic Party for orchestrating the failed impeachment of Amakura. The statement, signed by the senior special advisor to the Rivers State APC chairman, Chukwemeka Eze, pleaded with the people of Nasarawa to join other Nigerians in ensuring that the PDP was punished for such an action. The party decried the impeachment of former governor of Adamawa State, Murtala Nyako, and the militarization of Ekiti governorship election. Meanwhile, the deputy governor of Enugu State, Sunday Onyebuchi, has dared members of the State House of Assembly to impeach him, saying he's not afraid of losing his office. The deputy governor, who was present at the sitting of the panel of inquiry that is investigating allegations leveled against him, spoke to journalists shortly after the medical director of the government house testified that the offensive stance from Onyebuchi's poultry is an embarrassment to the government. The medical director of the government house medical center, Anthony Ogbonna, said the poultry posed deadly health risks to residents, workers and visitors to the government house. Onyebuchi faulted the testimonies of the medical director and other witnesses called against him, accusing them of falsehood. Insisting that he had not committed any offense that warranted impeachment, he dared the lawmakers to remove him. Activities leading to the much-talked-about Osun governorship elections were full of strategies and persuasion by the political parties contesting the governorship seat of the state. In the special report, Olajimoke Olatunji examines the intrigues leading to the election day.
As preparations for the Osun State August 9 governorship election nears its climax, candidates in the election, especially those considered as frontliners, have continued to engage themselves in war of words over attempts to manipulate the polls results and who will ultimately come out victorious. The incumbent Governor Rauf Aregbesola and his political party, the All Progressives Congress, have issued a warning to its followers to resist by any means attempts by the PDP to void their votes, encouraging them to stay and watch proceedings at various polling units after casting their votes. The People's Democratic Party candidate Iyola Omishiri, on the other hand, accused the APC of importing mercenaries from neighboring Oyo and Lagos states to disrupt the election. Another prominent candidate in the election, former Secretary of Osun State and candidate of the Labour Party, Fatai Akinbade, says the Osun people have rejected the APC and PDP. Therefore, the two parties in their desperation are relying on violence. The incumbent Governor Rauf Aregbesola had to battle in court for 3.5 years to have its mandate given by the people in the 2007 polls restored.
Work harder, we mobilize more, and we beseech God to crown our effort with absolute success. That's the lesson.
We are working hard from word to word, town to town, village to village,
because the vote must count.
In the case of Alhaji Akibade, the confidence is there because people are really yearning to come out and vote for me.
The June 21 governorship election in Ekiti State, which saw the APC governor Kayode Fayemi lost to Ayo Fayoshi of the PDP in a landslide victory, has also sent shivers down the spines of the All Progressives Congress in Osun State, as the party at the center have assured that it will repeat the same feat in Osun. However, the APC candidate Ralph Aregbesola has intensified his efforts to join forces with every relevant politicians in the state in order to ensure he comes out tops in the election. The first civilian governor of the state, Isiaka Adeleke, the immediate past governor Olagusoye Oyinlola, recently joined the All Progressives Congress with their followers and vowed to resist PDP takeover of the state.
I governed the state for 7.5 years. Akande has been governor. Isiaka Adeleke has been governor. With incumbent governor, we can always put our head together and get the best for the people of Osun State.
With me now, it have increased the margin by 30%. I'm looking at about 80%.
Again, the atmosphere appears tense in Osun as history has it that since return to democracy, no individual had been voted back-to-back as governor. In less than 48 hours, 19 candidates slug it out in the battle royale, which will produce the governor for Osun State. Campaigns, souvenirs, incentives and many more have been distributed to the people. If all of this actually translate votes, will be realized the morning after Saturday, August 9. Olajumoke Olatunji, CoreTV News, Lagos.
While the political atmosphere in Osun can be described as enthusiastic over the forthcoming governorship election, candidates of the All Progressives Congress, People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party have been described as the big contenders. Frank Molape filed in this report from Osogbo.
The Osun State governorship election has attracted attention from all politicians in Nigeria. Residents of Osun are also looking forward to the election.
It's going to be a tight election. And you know, I can't really say who's going to win. And whoever I want to vote for is behind, as is in my mind. So I can't really say. All I know is I'll cast my vote as a civil responsibility.
I have my card with me, so I will, because I must go, and I employ my people to go and vote, because this is your power. Your vote is your power. If you didn't vote, you will regret and you will blame yourself.
I believe every individual, they know who they really want to vote for, you know, and every citizen knows their rights. So I believe anybody wants to vote for is in individual's mind. So, and I know people know the right thing.
Analysts have dissected the strongholds of each candidate based on their constituencies and senatorial districts. The incumbent governor and APC candidate, Ralph Aregbesola, will be counting on his achievements in office to win the election.
Until the end of our term, I'm the legitimate authority to govern this place.
I love that.
For Labour Party candidate Fatai Akibade, this will be his fourth attempt at Osun governorship.
In the case of Alhaji Akibade, the confidence is there because people are really yearning to come out and vote for me. So I'm very confident that I will still make it.
Inyala Mishire of the People's Democratic Party is an electrical engineer. He says he's confident of unseating the incumbent governor.
The point is that when I go to war, I will say to win. When I go to battle, I will say to take slaves. So this one I'm certain, by the grace of God, I'm going to win election. So the hypothetical question doesn't necessarily apply to me. So maybe you can ask the APC or any other party that question, whether they will accept defeat and congratulate me.
Coincidentally, the APC candidate Ralph Aregbesola and PDP's Inyala Mishire from the same senatorial district. The two candidates will have to share the votes from the Osun East.
Well, the big contenders include Labour Party, the PDP and the APC. An effort has been put in place by all these political parties to ensure victory in the coming election. Frank Omalape, CoreTV News, Osogbo.
The People's Democratic Party has described threats by the All Progressives Congress to set up a parallel government if the 2015 presidential election is rigged as a ploy to destabilize the country. PDP spokesman Olisa Metu said at the news conference in Abuja that the threat is a confirmation of its position on the opposition party. He also insists that it proves that the APC is more keen on destabilizing the country.
This therefore explains why they have been making inflammatory statements and publishing negative advertorials and articles in local and international media to incite Nigerians, embolden insurgents, and stir hatred and division among the populace, while balkanizing the nation along its fault lines. All the pocket of anti-government protests and calls for civil disobedience in parts of the country bear the imprint of the APC, and are geared towards cultivating a fertile ground for them to unleash a reign of terror across the country. The importation of talks to cause confusion in most of the elections we've had, including in Anambra, Ekiti, and now Osun State, is all part of the plot to discredit the electoral system and truncate the 2015 elections.
ECOWAS commissioners denied claims by the Nigerian authority that the Liberian-American Patrick Sawyer, who brought Ebola virus into the country, disregarded directives not to travel out of Monrovia. The Commission's Vice President Toga Sintoch told CoreTV News on the sidelines of a meeting with the diplomatic community in Abuja that Sawyer was never barred from traveling. He also argued that there were no signs of the Liberian-American had the virus before he boarded the flight to Lagos.
This meeting was to take place, or it took place, in Calabar. So Mr. Sawyer was coming as head of his unit from Liberia along with others. And this is how they all met in traveling together. Some of them came on the same flight, so he was just coming for a meeting. But we thank God that by the time he hit the ground, the virus was not manifesting itself. If the virus was still under manifestation, he would have gotten on the plane from Lagos to Calabar, and they would have had more catastrophe. But the critical issue is, if you are diagnosed at home, if you come in primary contact with someone, you need to do your testing before you get on the flight. Now, within the region, we are now having flights at the airports before you go out, when you come in. All this is now taking place within the sub-region because of this experience.
Meanwhile, Senate President David Mark warned striking doctors to see the outbreak of Ebola virus as a national emergency. He said in a statement issued in Abuja that the situation is grave enough for the doctors to return to work to help stop a looming health crisis. Senator Mark noted that the doctors' demands are genuine, but he argued that the outbreak is an emergency that demands extraordinary measures to tackle it. He also assured the aggrieved doctors of government's readiness to address their grievances. And even though the National Assembly is still on recess, the Senate President has directed the Senate Committee on Health to collaborate with the relevant government agencies to combat the disease. And also, Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf has called for 3 days of fasting and prayers to ask for divine intervention against her country's deadliest ever Ebola outbreak. More than 300 Liberians have been infected by the tropical disease, which has been raging in West Africa since the start of the year. More than half of those who have caught it have died. The fasting and prayer period will last during daylight hours until the weekend, the presidency said. Religious leaders will lead prayers for the spiritual, moral and physical restoration of the land, including prayers for the elimination of Ebola. The period will finish on Friday evening when senior religious figures will hold a 3-hour service in Monrovia, which will also be broadcast on national television. The presidency said religious leaders will also pray against any form of witchcraft activity used to spread Ebola virus and for health workers struggling to contain it. We'll take a break now, and I'll be back with more stories. Don't go away.
The deadly Ebola virus is again spreading in West Africa. The virus has fatality rates of up to 90%, meaning many who contract the disease die. A subcontinent have witnessed over 900 deaths. Please help prevent the spread of Ebola by observing the following precautions. This is a social responsibility awareness campaign of CoreTV News.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Welcome back. A South African prosecutor branded Oscar Pistorius as deceitful and insisted that the Paralympian cannot avoid a conviction for murdering his girlfriend as the state closed its case against him. And in the first of 2 days of concluding arguments in the gripping 5-month murder trial, Nell said Pistorius' efforts to concoct an alibi had led to a snowball effect of lies, requiring more lies to back them up. Summing up the state's meticulous 200-page review of evidence gleaned from almost 40 witnesses, Nell said Pistorius is guilty of misleading statements. Nell also pointed to state experts' testimony that Steenkamp had food in her stomach when she died and that neighbors heard a woman screaming to show that Pistorius is lying. He added that even if the judge, Thokozile Masipa, believes Pistorius' claim that he accidentally shot at an intruder, he must be found guilty. President Barack Obama says the United States will help African nations set up a rapid response force to support United Nations and African Union peacekeeping missions. While closing a summit with 50 African countries in Washington, Obama said the force could be dispatched rapidly in support of UN-backed missions on the continent. On the Ebola outbreak, Obama said it's premature to send experimental drugs for its treatment to West Africa. He said the United States is working with European partners and the World Health Organization to provide resources to help contain the epidemic.
The United States will provide additional equipment to African peacekeepers in Somalia and the Central African Republic. We will support the African Union's efforts to strengthen its peacekeeping institutions. And most importantly, we're launching a new African peacekeeping rapid response partnership with the goal of quickly deploying African peacekeepers in support of UN or AU missions. And we'll join with 6 countries that in recent years have demonstrated a track record as peacekeepers. The virus, both currently and in the past, is controllable if you have a strong public health infrastructure in place. And the countries that have been affected are the first to admit that what's happened here is that their public health systems have been overwhelmed. We're focusing on the public health approach right now because we know how to do that, but I will continue to seek information about what we're learning with respect to these drugs going forward. You know, the specific issue of the Al Jazeera journalists in Egypt, we've been clear both publicly and privately that they should be released. But the U.S. goal right now would be to make sure that the ceasefire holds, that Gaza can begin the process of rebuilding, and that some measures are taken so that the people of Gaza feel some sense of hope. Long term, there has to be a recognition that Gaza cannot sustain itself permanently, closed off from the world. I have no sympathy for Hamas. I have great sympathy for ordinary people who are struggling within Gaza.
UN peacekeepers have evacuated 220 staff and 8 workers from northeast South Sudan after Mao's militias killed at least 6 relief workers. The troops from the UN mission in South Sudan expected to continue evacuations from Ban
After
in
3
Upper
years of
Nile State,
independence,
where a
South
local militia, the Mabanis Defense Forces, was blamed for the killings. The violence in Upper Nile State came as South Sudan is facing what the UN has said is the worst food crisis in the world, and Ethiopia brokered peace talks between rival factions are yet to yield concrete results. The UN Security Council expressed outrage at the violence and warned that attacks on humanitarian personnel may constitute a war crime.
Sudan is on the brink of a humanitarian catastrophe and a protracted internal conflict. This is a man-made crisis, and those responsible for it have been slow in resolving it. Both sides continue to believe that they can achieve more through the pursuit of a military option.
This hour on CoreTV News. I'll be back at 9:45 with the primetime news. Stay tuned.